What up, everybody? Today we are in here with another fucking fantastic build for fucking Spider-Man. He's a beast. He's all over the place. He's moving around. He's beating people up. He's kicking people. He's throwing webs out. He's pulling up fucking chunks of rock. He's fucking swinging all over the fucking place non-stop. Definitely like playing the guy. And I was kind of skeptical going in because I heard a lot of negative feedback about the console Spider-Man. But after trying him out, I liked Beast a lot. He plays similar to him. Definitely has a whole different feel, vibe, a whole different, a ton of different just like ad-libs, a ton of different quotes and commentaries and all that. But he is a lot of fun, and I'm pretty under good with him versus some of the other guys that I play with who definitely love this kid. Favorite costume, in my opinion, Spider-Man. For Spider-Man is the Iron Spider. Just wanted to say that. I'm not a fan of the Gwen costume. The girl's got some freaking blue Crocs on. Give me a break. Anyways, we'll go ahead and hop into the build here. First off, we'll just start off with the traits. Spider DNA. Kid's going to get more critical hit damage, and he's going to do more damage. Secondly, web fluid. Primary resource is webbing. It's going to constantly regenerate 15% per second, just constantly. Spider sense. You are able to see enemies on the mini-map, always a plus, so you can just kind of tell where people are from looking at your mini-map. You're gonna want to get a shit ton of dodge because he gets more damage based off dodge, and he gets a higher dodge chance. You're going to want to gain a shit ton of dodge because he's going to get like a higher dodge chance on there, as well as defense, and obviously he's a melee character, so he's going to get that 3% reduction. Next up, we are going to check out these fucking powers here. Alright, key to my X button, Leaping Assault. This guy's a beast with his power. This is going to do 100% critical chance. Routinely for me, it hits about 100k, if not more, every 8 seconds. Everything kind of revolves around this 3-power rotation that I have, which is going to be just cause this guy to be leaping, backflipping, leaping, and really multiplying your dodge chance, because he gains a lot of damage based off dodge. So anyways, Leaping Assault, very, very fun power, straightforward, 100% critical chance, boom. Next up, we've got the Evasive Webbing. So you're going to be rotating between the Evasive Webbing, which I have on my square, and the Spider Slam, which I have on my triangle. With this spec, both of those are going to have a two max charges, and you're going to want to, pop one, then pop the other one. And that's going to lower the reduction on, that'll lower the cooldown on Leaping Assault. So those are really my 3 go-to powers. But Evasive Webbing, it's going to immobilize people, costs, a little bit of webbing, has a 4-second cooldown with 2 charges. So definitely movement heavy here. Really like the power, just how he backflips and kind of does his spider thing. Then Spider Slam, you're going to backflip into the air before quickly web zipping back to the ground. So when you think Spider-Man, this is kind of like the go-to power, like these kids all over, webbing people, pulling himself toward him. Does a little bit of knockdown, so some crowd control, and has the 4 seconds to max charges. Both of those are going to lower the cooldown on Leaping Assault, which will be your heavy hitter that you'll be hitting constantly. Next up, we've got your basic dash power. You start off with agile attack, but I went with the web zip line just because it gives you an ability to knock people down. Damage, it has a little bit of damage, nothing to scoff at. Your basic dash has a cool effect though. And then I wanted to kind of create like a range variant as well because I'm in combat doing lots of damage. So I went with the rapid fire webs. It gives you dodge chance plus 15%, so you gain more dodge chance while you're channeling it, so you can dodge more attacks. And it does decent damage for a range. Not crazy powerful, but again, if you just want to sit back, maybe you're getting zerged kind of down, you want to sit back and just throw out those webs. Has a really fucking cool animation. And that's on my L2X. On my L2 circle, I've got web spray. Fill an area with sticky webbing that briefly slows down enemies. Damage, very, very minor damage. It's more for the slow and the vulnerability. Because if you got people who are rushing you, you're Spider-Man, you're all over the place. You do want to have that ability to slow people down just a little bit more, so you can maybe get some distance, or maybe really sit back and do a little bit of range if you're low on health and your med kit's on cooldown. More importantly, it gives you that 10% damage received. For the enemy, the vulnerability boost. I don't like to use this attack too often just because it takes 100 suit power, or 100 webbing cost per attack. So I really like to, minimize this. I use this purely for the vulnerability boost. Then next up to my L2 square, I have web sling here. Shoot a pair of webs behind you, pulling up a chunk of earth and hurling it forward. So on this particular talent tree here, you could either select a web sling, or, and you'll kind of see what I mean later, or the web wrecking ball. I chose the web sling even though it does less damage, and especially doesn't have that AoE that web wrecking ball has, purely due to the fact that it gives you a 30% dodge rating multiplier, and that's not a 30% multiplicative boost, that's a straight additive boost. So it's going to be 30%, 30%, and then, well, whatever you have on top of that. I have a base of 30%, so I just see 30, 60, 90 when I check my stats, which is going to boost my dodge that much more, which is going to make most of my powers in turn hit harder. So very, very nice skill there. And on top of that, it's going to increase your survivability all around with that type of dodging, with that type of dodge rating. Again, it does, web cost 173, 8-second cooldown, so I try to pop it after a couple attacks, 5 seconds, so I want to pop it again so I can capitalize on that 30-second boost. And that's usually when I'll pop another, leaping assault or bust out my signature, which I absolutely love. Amazing smash. Leap into the air, spinning a mighty ball of webbing, then smash into your enemies to immobilize them. Does a lot of damage. And what's great about this is I spec'd into the talent that is going to give you, it's going to double its damage, maybe even more than that, but it's going to take away that DOT that it originally has. It's going to mobilize people for a little bit, 25-second cooldown. I mean, this is going to hit so hard. As I was, in training just a second ago, I saw it hitting to like 200,000. That's every 25 seconds, and your other attacks are going to be doing a shit ton of damage as well. Definitely a fun ability. I was just talking to my guy Ken Loud, 1694, yesterday about this. He said, hey man, when you make this Spider-Man video, I want you to make sure that it's our video, because he loves Spider-Man, I love Spider-Man. I told him I'd give him a shout out, throw him a little bone. But it's such a good build, and I definitely had a lot of fun playing with him. Yeah, go check out Ken Loud also. Dude's awesome, man. If you see him on PlayStation Network, at his ass. He's a trash talker. He gets it done. I love it, man. Pause. But anyways, so besides that, we've got our talents here up next. We're checking out the first 3 talents at the very bottom. It's going to be amazing acrobatics. Gain a 25% dodge rating multiplier for 5 seconds when you use the movement power. Stacks up to 3 times. Movement power damage overall 10%. Boom. All your attacks, your large attacks are all going to be movement powers, as you can see. You're going to want to always have this up. A small tip that you guys don't know just yet is that if you actually activate your travel power, for whatever fucking reason, it counts as a movement power. Boom. You want stacks running up to a battle? This is what you do when you run up to a battle. You 3 stacks. 3 stacks, easy, go in, but boom, started off like that. Small tip, don't tell the devs, because they like to ninja pass shit. Next up, we've got Jumping Spider. When you use Spider Slam or Evasive Web Sling, reduce the cooldown of Leaping Assault by 2 seconds. Leaping Assault damage 100% extra, so that's why it does so much currently. As you can see, I've got Spider Slam on my triangle, always using it. Got Leaping Assault on my X. That's going to be my go-to when it's off cooldown. I'm using it in Evasive Webbing. You're going to constantly be rotating these powers, so you're going to be jumping all over the place. I do not like to make characters that stand in place, because that is a death sentence in any cosmic level, unless, you're Colossus. You got that heal, that Reagan on tap. Ding, ding, ding. I mean, that's about 5,000 health to you. A little bit different, but definitely not with Spider-Man. Next up, we've got Evasive Webbing does 200% additional damage if you have used Spider Slam within 5 seconds. Spider Slam does 150% additional damage if you use Evasive Webbing within 5 seconds. Again, you're going to be using these on rotation, so that's definitely going to boost your damage on that. And it gives you more charges, so it's going to be a constant stream of damage there. It's got a 4-second cooldown. It takes about 2 seconds to use these fucking abilities. You're just going to be constantly have these cooldowns, as long as you don't run out of web power, which shouldn't be a problem. Environmental Awareness is up next. Web Sling has 2 charges, gives you that 30% dodge rating that I was talking about earlier. 5 seconds, so you're going to want to capitalize on that. Last up, Amazing Impact. Amazing Smash no longer deals damage over time or immobilizes enemies. Oh, it does 200 more damage. that's going to be your bread and butter. You're going to pop that shit to about 200k before criticals, 400k before brutals, 800k. Yeah, definitely possible with no legendary. So just imagine if you get something that increases your critical damage or your brutal damage, like the Savage Axes of Ares or something like that, or even the Ultimate Nullifier. Done deal, done deal. And lastly is his ultimate, Maximum Spider. Not the greatest ultimate, but definitely by no means a bad one. This dude's going to be dashing around, cover the area around you in a giant web that stuns all enemies and explode into a blur of motion, beating the foes down. Definitely fucking cool. And then once it's up, it's going to give you critical and brutal and give you a health break in for, 20 seconds or so. But it's going to do 25 hits or 30k per hit before crits and brutes. So you're talking, what, 3, 6, I don't know if I 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 750k damage, if my math is correct, and that's before crits and brutes. So you'll see, roughly 1 million damage or so if they're able to stay in that area. I'll kind of elaborate on my synergies and infinity points in there. I went with critical damage. He has an insta crit, so you want to capitalize on that critical damage for infinity. But if you guys have any questions, definitely let me know. Check the gameplay out because he's a fucking monster. Peace out, guys.